Hey all, Tom Ryan here from Tom's Big Spiders. Well, I've been getting a lot of folks asking me about this one. Apparently some dealers have them for sale, including Fear Not Tarantulas, who just hatched out a sack of them. And I do have one, and I just put a picture of it up on Instagram not all that long ago, which got some interest. I'm talking about the Aphonopelma burica, or the Costa Rican blue front, which I have to say gets my vote for the worst common name ever. Like, talk about uninspired. But anyway, this is an amazing little spider, one that's really growing on me that I've kept it for a little while. This medium-sized fossorial species is from Costa Rica. The females supposedly only get around 4.5 inches or so not a particularly large spider. And they sport blue chelicera and some blue on their front legs, which obviously everybody loves blue spiders, so that makes them very, very attractive to collectors, and especially collectors of Aphonopelma species, because what's better than a blue Aphonopelma species? Well, I'll tell you, one that grows rather quickly. So enough of me talking, let's get into the care for Aphonopelma burica, or the Costa Rican blue front tarantula. All right, we're about to rehouse my Aphonopelma burica, or Costa Rican blue front. Right, seriously, that's the common name for it? Wasn't even thinking about Costa Rican blue front. This is why I giggle at the common names. Like, that's the best. How about Costa Rican blue fang?
There we go.
Like something different, like Costa Rican blue front. Like, that's the most uninspired common name. All right, I digress. Anyway, we're doing rehousing these because I actually posted an image of one of mine, my only one, on Instagram recently, which got some interest and people asking about them. And I believe Fear Not Tarantulas has a sack of them, I believe, in. So for folks that are looking to get in this one, there's a lot to like here, especially for the infamously slow-growing Aphonopelma species. So I'm going to take the top off this so hopefully Billy can get some shots of it. Hopefully we can get that blue to show up. Maybe, maybe not. All right, so I picked this one up in 2021, and at the time, I'll show some images of it in a minute. It was about 1 inch long, so it was a well-started Aphonopelma species. However, this thing grew super fast, so 6 months later, I originally had it in a dram vial, a large dram vial. 6 months later, I had to rehouse it into what it's in here. If Billy wants to back up for just a second. This is a 20-ounce deli cup. I know everybody, the industry standard is usually the 16 or 32 ounce, but I was trying to buy deli cups one day. They had 20 ounce. I'm like, let me try these out. And I really, really like them. They're especially nice for a fossorial species. They don't give too much substrate, a depth for enough substrate that they can get lost. But we moved her about 6 months after I got her into this one here. And as you can see, now she has outgrown this enclosure. She is no longer able to burrow it. She kind of collapsed it in on itself. So it's time to give her something new. So what we are going to put her in is this one here, which is, we're bringing them back, one of the Master of Landscape Architecture, the Barbarous Growth enclosures. I get these off of Amazon. I tried one of the bigger ones. I actually have 2 of the bigger ones now, and then decided to try one of these, which is, it's roughly, does it say on the side? It doesn't. It's roughly 8 by 8 by 8 or so, and I kind of like the looks of them. They're really clear. This one goes for about 25 bucks, so a little pricey, but compared to other enclosures out there, looks really nice. Has this opening top, good ventilation here, good ventilation on the sides. Just really cool enclosure. So we're going to try this for her. And what I like about it is going to give her a bit of depth for her to burrow. Expect these guys as slings to burrow, and expect them to appreciate a little moisture on the bottom. That was one thing a lot of people I see with Aphonopelma species start them bone dry, and that's not how to keep them. Normally, they like a little moisture on the bottom. Usually what I try to do is keep the bottom layers moist. That encourages the burrowing. So this one, when I put her in the dram vial, the bottom layers were moist. She dug right down to the moist levels on the bottom and always kind of stayed in that moist area. When we put her in this one here, before she collapsed it all, again, I would keep the bottom levels moist, let the top dry out. She always stayed in her burrow. This one here, the substrate is a mixture, my own mix of peat and cocoa fiber with, I think, a little sand, and then I did some Biodude Terra Arena on top. The only reason I use this stuff on the bottom is I already had some moist stuff. The Biodude stuff was drier, so we have the dry layer on top, moist layer on the bottom. We have some leaf litter because it looks nice, a little burrow. I did not put any sphagnum moss in here because it would have been more for looks. She's not going to use it, hopefully she, and she doesn't need the extra moisture in there. So what I will do is I will keep part of this moist at all time, let the other part dry out, probably around the burrow area, keep moist. She will definitely have a water dish. We will put that in afterwards. So now let's get her from point A to point B. I'm hoping we can get her to stay out for a little bit. I don't know if you were able to get any of the blue. Oh, sorry. Oh, that's going to make a nice little... Let's go this way. There you go. There you go. She's probably going to shoot right down that burrow, so I don't know if you can get some shots of her before she goes in. I will put the shot I got and put up on Instagram. Her Calycera in particular have a wonderful blue sheen to them under a light. Just a cool looking spider. All right, there you go. There you go. There you go. Nope, nope, nope. Can't keep the brush either. All right. Oh, poor little thing. She is gorgeous. Absolutely. Again, I keep saying she. I have not sexed her. I will try to dig a molt out of there, but who knows if I'll be able to get it. But hopefully what you're seeing is a little of that blue coming through. And when you catch them in the right light, the Calycera in particular, try to turn it around a little bit. We'll cheat and get the flashlight out. Nah. She's hiding. You see some of the blue tones. And again, I will put that picture up right after she molted. That was not altered. That was what she looked like. Gorgeous spider. Now, Aphonopelma, like I was mentioning earlier in this video, are notoriously slow growing. This one has grown quite fast. Again, I got her at about 1 inch, so she had already put on some size, so I'm not sure. Maybe it's one of those species that takes a while to get to 1 inch, but I will tell you, obviously now she is pushing, I would say 2 3/4 inches or so. So for any Aphonopelma species to go from 1 inch to 2 3/4 inches in 1.5 years is really good growth rate. She's always eaten great, been a very aggressive eater, will burst out of her burrow, grab something, pull it down, so I've never had any issues there. Temperatures, again, my temperatures, when we got her, I think we were already here. So temperatures in the summertime get up to about high 70s to mid 80s or so. In the wintertime, it drops down to about 73, sometimes goes down into the 60s. And she's grown fine through all of them. And remember, this is a species that probably experiences some cooler temperatures at times, so the cooler temps are not going to harm her. And again, as far as moisture is concerned, I like the Aphonopelma species, do not keep them bone dry. I found the majority of them. If you have an older specimen, yes, when they're older, they can probably do it with a water dish, but I have found that the smaller specimens, the slings and the juveniles especially, do appreciate a moist spot, and that's a lot of times how you can get them to exercise that natural burrowing instinct, is to give them something to burrow to. They will dig down, try to find that moisture. And obviously, being a Costa Rican species, they probably experience a bit more moisture than, say, the ones from Arizona. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Now, temperament, she's obviously, most slings, very, very shy, but I have noticed as she's put on some size and now that she's a bit older, she's fairly laid back. You see she's just kind of sitting there. This has been pretty much the thing. Even when she was in the deli cup after she had outgrown it, she never really panicked. When I'd open up, she'd just kind of scrunch up a little bit. I'd drop a prey item in, she'd right on it, and she'd eat there right in front of me, no problem. So anybody looking for a gorgeous, I mean, it's an Aphonopelma with blue on it. It's a Aphonopelma that grows fast. Right there, 2 huge pluses as far as Aphonopelma species. I would definitely encourage you to snatch these guys up. I would love to see them more prevalent in the hobby. If this one continues the way she does, keeping that laid-back personality, this would definitely be a good beginner species, with the fact that the slings grow quickly, they're hardy, they eat well, they're beautiful, and laid back as adults. That's got beginner species written all over it. We just need to get it a little more established in the hobby. And I think, I could be wrong, I think the prices aren't all that bad. I know I didn't spend all that much for her. So just a lot to love about this species. And then just before we go, feeding-wise, because somebody always asked me, when she was little, I fed the little red runner roaches, the little tiny ones. She didn't need pre-killed. I didn't do pre-killed with this one at all. She would actively hunt. She got a little bit bigger. I moved to the medium size. Now she's eating large crickets, no problem whatsoever. So there we go, Aphonopelma burica. What is it? The blue front?
Costa Rican blue.
Costa Rican blue front. That's getting my vote for one of the most ridiculous common names ever. Like, that's just awful, but it is what it is. Doesn't matter. Awesome spider. Definitely encourage folks, if you can find them, check them out. You will not be disappointed. So just to be clear on the slings, they can be really teeny tiny when they're first born, like 1/3 of an inch or so. So something like that you're going to want to keep probably in a dram vial, a smaller dram vial. But don't be surprised if they grow up rather quickly. Although I didn't get mine at that size and wasn't able to grow it up, I did pop over to Mike's Basic Tarantulas, which is an awesome resource for folks keeping tarantulas. Somebody I go to all the time when I don't have the information on something. And he said his went from about 1/3 of an inch to 1.5 inches in a year. So that's really good growth rate. So something to keep in mind. Again, I think if these guys got more established in the hobby, you would see them more on more beginner species lists because they are beautiful. Although I will say, apparently they are true fossorials, and if given the space to burrow, they will burrow and stay in their burrows. Now, a question I get a lot of times is, why do you think the blue's on there? I have a theory that when you get the burrowing species that let their chelicera and those front blue legs hang out, that it attracts insects. They see that color and they're attracted to it. I know when I wear my blue sequin sexy pants out, I tend to get swarmed with flies. So, okay, I totally made that up. I just don't think a lot of people stick to the end of the video, so we'll see how many people actually see this. But in all seriousness, I do wonder if there is some type of attraction to prey insects. If they stay out top of their burrow, the light hits them, it creates that color, the insects go to investigate, and bam, they got a meal. So nothing to do with sequin pants though. So for folks looking for these guys, again, Fear Not Tarantulas has them. I believe they're under $40, which is a deal for this species as far as I'm concerned. And I also believe that Great Basin Serpentarium, where I got my first one, has larger specimens for a little more expensive. So definitely check them out. And if you get them, no matter if it's now, no matter if it's down the road, pop over here, leave me a comment, let me know. I'd love to hear about it. So that will do it for this one. As always, if you liked it enough to subscribe, very much appreciate. Click the little circle up in here. If you want to check out some more videos, they'll be over here. You know the drill. You comment, I'll respond. Just may take me a little while because I tend to get busy and get a lot of comments. That'll do it for this one, guys. Stay safe. Catch you all next time.